what your capabilities and limitations.
Last competition, I had like 6 back ribs popped out of place and like 4 neck bones popped out of place. I'm not going to be competing anymore. But it was nice knowing, like, being prepared, I think, is the biggest thing. I learned that in the Boy Scouts. I'm an Eagle Scout, is like, be prepared. And I think that's like one of the biggest tools to have.
This is gonna hurt. It's time for the Suffering Podcast.
The Suffering Podcast welcomes our newest sponsor, Keto Revive. Ketamine infusions that are personalized, accessible, and holistic. Proven treatments for post-traumatic stress, depression, anxiety, chronic pain, neuropathic pain, and so much more. Keto Revive is physician-operated with customized treatments tailored to you and an outstanding support system. Keto Revive offers first responder special discounts. So try something new, proven treatments, located in Wyckoff, New Jersey. To find out more, visit Keto Revive at ketorevive.com. Let's start healing today.
So one of the stipulations of my term was to do RDAP, which is a Residential Drug Abuse Program, which is an in-custody 9-month program where it's a separate housing unit. It's not separate like any kind of special house. It's just it's on the yard. It's on the regular yard. It's just a house. It's like an educational unit. So they gave me a year off my sentence to do that program, and then there's like a 4-month aftercare once you're released. So, but I've always been, I've just had been on the path and was just bettering myself the entire time, being super disciplined, et cetera, et cetera. When it came time for this program, I was just really dialed in, and so there was a few DTSs, which were the drug treatment specialists, people that worked the unit, that were the counselors for these programs, these classes that we would do. They'd be like CBT classes, all sorts of stuff like that. So by the time the program came around, they'd actually asked me to be a mentor for the program. So I jumped on top of it, and just accelerated. I actually blew through a lot of the work, but a lot of it I took it real serious and really dived into it and really soaked up a lot of the knowledge. I just knew I was done. Somebody only knows they're done when they're done, and I was just done. So really, I had found out about Jocko a little prior to that, so I was really pumping Jocko tough. I'm in this unit, and I'm a mentor, so I'd be up in front of a whole unit of like 100 guys in a prison unit, and we'd have a morning meeting, and there would be a class, and I'd be up at the podium reading Discipline Equals Freedom to all these guys, like trying to get these guys to step their game up.
That needs to be in every leadership school across the country. When I read Extreme Ownership, it was crazy. But so in the gym, I'll put my earbuds in, and everybody thinks I'm listening to music. And there's some times when I do, but it's very, very rare. What I listen to, and I type it in on YouTube, put in Jocko motivation. That's all you got to put in.
Oh yeah.
And it's just snippets of his speeches and stuff, and that's what keeps me moving through my workout. Because I'm like this, and because he's vulnerable when he says it. He says, listen, there's days I just don't have it. There's days I don't feel like it, but that's the days that I got to do it. Mm-hmm. The Navy SEAL that was sitting in here, John Collins, he said, when you don't want to train, that is when training starts. And I took that lesson from him. I'm taking a lot of lessons from you on this one. Like don't do meth. That's the first method, first lesson. But now you're out. Your release date. When was your release date?
July 12th, 23.
So you're fresh. You're fresh out,
mm-hmm.
and you got your wife out here. How did that happen?
So I'd been pumping Jocko tough. I mean, I literally would write Discipline Equals Freedom out longhand and send these to like my older brother, Danny, for example, who's a big guy, a little overweight. And so he knows how hard I'm going. His daughter, my niece, has fallen through some of the similar issues that I have. And so I'd be trying to encourage them to really just find that, get on the path, as Jocko calls it. And so I get released, and Danny knows of the change I've made, and so these are just some of these wins that are starting to happen. He says, "I want to take you over to this gym." His buddy he went to school with has backed this gym. Takes me over, and it's Victory MMA, which is Jocko's gym. And
It's a
so,
good gym to start working out in. Yeah.
somebody's looking out for me.
Yeah, I'd say so.
So get there. They kind of hear my story. Jocko wasn't there. It was gentleman who backed everything. Another guy who's another part owner, who's also the manager. He was there. He's had some stuff in his past. He had done some time. And so they welcomed me into the gym, caught me, full membership, everything, welcoming arms. So I'm there. Couple times I've been there, and I've seen a guy that I know, Dean Lister, who's a world.
Yeah, I know who Dean Lister is, of course.
Yeah, so I know Dean from San Diego previous years, just kind of in the San Diego scene. So I'm up in there, and I see Dean, and he sees me, and he just like walks up. He's like, "Where have you been?" Like, so I start talking to him a little bit, and him and Jocko are real good friends. And so next thing you know, Jocko comes walking up to me, and I'm like, "Oh my goodness." I was like, "Sir," I was like, "I have to tell you something."
A little starstruck.
A little bit. Well, just is he? I mean, where I grew up. I mean, I used to deliver food to Kobe Bryant. I mean, like I know a lot of celebrity kids. I mean, like, but this guy has been so impactful on my life. The lessons I've learned from him literally helped change the whole trajectory of my life. I mean, I was already on the path, but it's like then getting everything he was talking about was just like kicking into overdrive.
Imagine what that did for Jocko. Now, Jocko gets a lot of accolades. He's a very well-rounded. He's like an anti-celebrity. I don't even want to call him a celebrity, because he puts in the work. I think most celebrities don't.
Right.
But he's like the anti-celebrity. So again, it's that one person that we started off this whole thing with. You tell this to Jocko and how your life changed from inside, constantly just going inside out. And then you read his book, and it sort of changes the trajectory of your life. I'm sure for him, he put a big smile on his face.
He was pretty cool about it. I told him how impactful it was. I read all his books, and I said, "Well, check this out. Here's something you're going to get a kick out of." And I told him how I was up in front of a unit of a bunch of guys in prison reading his book to these guys, and he thought that was pretty cool. At that point, I had an ankle monitor on my leg, because I'd gotten out. Usually it takes guys about 3 months to get house arrest. It only took me 3 weeks, because I just was doing everything I was supposed to do. And so we had talked. We built a little bit of a friendship, and he's a sharp guy. A few months later, when it was that week to get the ankle monitor off, we had talked. We see each other all the time. "Hey, how you doing?" We chat and everything. I'm friends with his daughter and everything. But then the week, I hadn't mentioned anything about when it was coming off. And that very same week, because we'd see each other all the time, that week he said, "Hey, that's coming off this week, this Thursday, right?" And I said, "You're right." Yeah, he's a pretty solid individual, man.
And I know a couple other people who know him, maybe not in this capacity, and they all say the same thing. Like, he's the real deal.
Yeah.
Like, there's no bullshit with him.
He's a good guy. He'll stop. He'll take his time. He'll talk to people.
It's got to be exhausting for him, because I'm pretty sure all he wants to do is go in there and work out.
Yeah, he's good. I mean, you can tell sometimes he's kind of, having good times, but he's a wonderful individual. And I mean, that's one huge win. I mean, another thing that was, so when I was locked up and I was doing time, I identified a lot with a lot of guys that. A lot of like SEAL team guys. Like I read Adam Brown's book, Fearless. That's an awesome story.
Fearless is a great book.
I really dug that a lot. And so I was getting out. I was like, I'm going to be in San Diego. I'm going to be, Mom was in Coronado. I mean, there's a whole lot of
there's a lot of SEALs, a lot of SEALs there. Yeah.
And so sure enough, God really blessed me. Through a couple of people I know, I ended up meeting an individual who. Is a warrant officer, chief warrant officer, and we became friends. And he's taken me places, and I've had the opportunity to do certain things, and it's just been, it's been great. It's been, I mean, every they weren't even necessarily dreams. There were things that like I just thought would kind of be cool. I didn't think would even have come true. Like I started rolling, I started doing jiu-jitsu. I entered a couple of competitions. I wasn't even going to compete in one of them because I had a hernia repair that I had gotten in prison, and they wouldn't give me surgery for, but they were giving guys breast augmentations when I was in there. Whole nother story. And but so I decided to just do the competition, even though I was out of shape and I didn't do it. And I was like, I got to get uncomfortable. Somebody was like, just do it. You're always talking about, doing the uncomfortable. So I went and did it, and actually won that competition. Registered for another competition, won that competition too.
My days of competitions are over. I'm 50, man.
Oh, I'm done. I'm not doing it anymore.
Yeah, I'm rolling with these young guys, and they just got the stamina, and I'm like, hey, listen, I work my ass off, but I know that I'm 50. Like that's you have to know what your capabilities and limitations.
Last competition, I had like 6 back ribs popped out of place and like 4 neck bones popped out of place. I'm not going to be competing anymore. But it was nice knowing like. Being prepared, I think, is the biggest thing. I learned that in the Boy Scouts. I'm an Eagle Scout, is like be prepared. And I think that's like one of the biggest tools to have. So, I mean, from the jiu-jitsu to that, to meeting these guys, to things, I mean, everything with federal probation was going great. I'm getting, they're putting me in the administrative phase, which is like the least restrictive phase of federal probation.
Like you had to get special permission to fly here, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but she grants me everything. Not a problem. Her and my wife communicate. They're close friends, But
well, if they need a reference, I will send them the tape. So you were here, you're doing your thing, and you're actually talking truth. You're actually talking real. So you're out. You're in the last phase of this stuff. Your life's about to begin. Like at 42 years old, your life is about to begin, and it's in the phases of it's in the beginning phases. So what is next? I know you got Unchained Fit, your Instagram.
Yes, sir.
I love watching all this stuff. And I was watching very closely when you got on the airplane today. I'm like, oh yeah, he's coming to see me. I love it. I love it.
I'm a student of discipline, and so a guy who I was at Victory. And a guy comes up to me and he says, hey, he's like, because I had been in the restaurant in Coronado, we had some meetings and stuff. So I had come on originally to help the restaurants, just kind of get into wherever I could help. So I'd actually moved in to just assisting, to then managing, got into running operations for all the locations. Then I just actually opened up a ghost kitchen for the restaurants. So every aspect of life is just really growing. So this guy sees me in the locker room one day. He's like, hey, you own or you're part of this restaurant in Coronado. And I was like, what? Like, I don't talk to anybody. I haven't really no social life at this point in time. So we started talking, and he gets to know me a little bit, gets to know my story. And he says, hey, man, he's like, who you are, what you're doing, the story you have, and how big you are in like fitness and all that stuff. He's like, guys are doing this online. And I was like, really? I hadn't even been on social media. When I got out, didn't even get on Facebook, nothing. I was just focusing on my foundations and everything. So I checked it out just a few months ago, probably about 4 months ago now. And my buddy pushed me to do it. He said, hey, get on there and do it, man. And so I got on there and just started talking about putting my story out there a little bit. And just, I've always been a, people person, like wanting to help people and stuff like that. And it's like, I've just realized it's my true purpose today is to, so I've started like a personal development company, helping guys with their mindset, just getting their stuff in line, helping them incorporate non-negotiable tasks, just daily disciplines, focusing on that. And then of course, tying in fitness and nutrition with it. I really think it's just, once I got myself completely dialed in, spiritually, number one, mentally, intellectually, physically, I'm just, we're energy, we're balls of energy. And so I'm just, the energy we give off, the energy I give off, the frequency I give off, it's experience it. I go places, I'm treated a certain type of way, I'm treated with a certain amount of respect. And so I just really feel like I'm able to, I attracted, we met in the beginning of the year, met my wife, and she, first day we went on, I thought she was pretty serious. I was like, I don't know, she's pretty serious. But we met again because I knew there was really something to her. I was like, okay, there's something going. Her faith is number one. I knew that, and then I knew like her top things were similar to mine, and I was like, okay. Okay, there's something here. And so after like our second or third date, she started loosening up a little bit. Her name's Priscilla, and they actually call her Silly because she is pretty silly. So, and so after our first few dates, I mean, we dated, I think maybe a month, a little over a month, and I proposed to her because I just knew that I knew she was the one. And so
when you know, you know.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And just as dialed in as I've been, like with myself, with God, and just everything just in the flow state, as Taylor likes to call it, you know, I just knew exactly. And so
just don't do the metal teeth.
Yeah.
Just don't do the metal teeth like he has.
And I just, you know, and she said yes. And, you know, I got to go off on a tangent here because, you know, we all, you know, I come with history, you know, and so she's, you know, it hasn't been a picture perfect thing, you know, and so, but she's stood firm and she's had my back 100%. And Jocko actually said this one. He said it was a friend of his, and he said the most important decision we make in life is who we choose as a partner. And
I think that's wise words.
Absolutely.
It's wise words. It's also work.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that's why they call it making love. All right, because love just doesn't happen. It's you don't meet, sparks fly, and everything just handles itself. In much the same way that you were born into with certain opportunities, it doesn't just happen.
Right.
It takes the work. It takes the discipline. If you're not willing to work at it, everything's going to crumble.
Right.
But sometimes the best things to do is to allow things to crumble beyond your control, so that way you can build this beautiful palace that you seem to have today. So why don't you throw us out some plugs? Where can my audience find you?
Find me on Instagram at unchained_fit. I've also just started a YouTube. It's uppercase GFC, God Family Country, GFC Autry. So the two places you can find me. You find me on Instagram. I'm always on there, super responsive there. Anybody reaches out, I respond to all my stuff myself. I do everything myself. Nothing's automated. I don't have everything's strictly 100% organic. It's all me. And got a good team of guys building so far. I've got a guy just the other day in Copenhagen, got a guys in Denmark, got guys in Canada, Mexico, all over the U.S., just got all sorts of people reaching out from me. I've been speaking at rehabs. I'm talking with a rehab that's looking to incorporate my fitness and nutrition program there. I mean, there's
because when you develop that love for fitness, it's pretty hard to get high and then go work out. And that's the truth. Like that the gym is one of those healthy places of discipline, like we were talking about earlier.
Universal. It's universal application for everybody.
So, Anthony, we are coming to the end of this thing here, and I wrap up every show in much the same way. You, up until 38 years old, you lived this chaotic life that had tons of suffering, self-imposed,
100%.
but you had all this suffering. And now, looking at it through different eyes in 2024, it had to teach you something. And I'd really like to know what your suffering has taught you.
Things are going to happen in life that are out of our control. And I think taking an accountability or responsibility is huge. One of the biggest things also that I've learned is forgiveness. Like I've had to forgive myself for decisions I've made. And also, almost more importantly, I've had to learn to forgive others. I have forgiven the guy that murdered my brother. I forgive my parents. They did the best that they could. By learning forgiveness, it's enabled me to let go and find freedom and enable me to take life to levels that I've never even dreamed imaginable. I mean, I see things that are going to happen that are beyond my wildest dreams. I mean, my wife's going to put in her 2-week notice. I mean, I just got her a new car, myself a new car. I mean, life is really taking off at an exponential rate because I learned to let go. The only person I can control is myself. And the biggest thing also is just to go, not to hesitate. The biggest thing is to take action. Just get after it. Just go. There's not, and if something happens, you fall, pick yourself up and dust yourself off and try again. But not taking action, once somebody hesitates, hesitation can be then infinite. So just go, man. Just get after it.
Thomas Edison once said that he developed 1,000 ways to not invent the light bulb before he actually invented the light bulb. Thank you so much for coming in tonight. This has been great.
Thank you.
This has been great. I'm going to have fun chopping this one up too.
Appreciate it.
And that's going to do it for this episode of The Suffering Podcast, The Suffering of Discipline with Anthony Autry. And let's think about all the stuff that we learned. Things are not always what they appear. Tools aren't useful unless you use them. There are warning shots that get shot over your bow. It's funny how thankful you are for some horrible events. Take accountability, but most importantly, you died. You rose again in lockdown so you can free others. And that's going to do it for this episode. Don't forget to go to popple.com, put in the code TSP20 for a 20% discount on your digital business card. Follow us on all social media. That's Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, X, Clapper, OnlyFans. Follow me at Real Kevin Donaldson, and of course, follow Suffering Podcast. We'll see you on the next episode.